Welcome to the kitchen of chaos. We're gonna do some potatoes au gratin, or potatoes au gratin, if you're American. We're gonna start with some russet potatoes. Usually I work with reds but russets are good for this because they're not too sticky. We're just gonna wash them off, scrub them off real good. I'm not gonna peel them, slice them, and then we'll go from there. This is gruyere, and apparently in these parts it's about as valuable as gold. $18.99 a pound. Because this is about $30 worth of cheese right here. And that's 40 bucks worth of gruyere right there. So, and I'm going to mix that with some good sharp cheddar. You can just use plain gruyere, you can use Swiss if you want, but gruyere is the traditional au gratin cheese. So we're going to cut the rind off of this and shred it up. This is the reason why Ben Franklin invented electricity. Let's see. That's very good. What does it taste like? It tastes like, the first thing that comes into my mind is Heath bars. What's that called? Brittle or something? No, not brittle. It's toffee. English toffee. That's what it tastes like. Good stuff. Alright, so some recipes call for milk in this, and you actually make a little bechamel sauce or whatever. But this is easier, and I don't feel like worrying about getting the thickness right. So this is just half and half, a quart of half and half, and I'm going to put some nutmeg in there after I fish out the onion skin that was left in the pan apparently, and some garlic and some salt and pepper. So nutmeg, good bit of nutmeg. It goes really well with the au gratin potatoes. Let's see, a couple teaspoons of salt. It's a lot of potatoes, so I'm doing about 8 pounds. And that might need more salt later actually. So I'm just going to bring this to a simmer, not bubbling but hot. Sort of infuse the spices in there, and then we'll use this to make the sauce, which we layer the potatoes and the cheese. I'll put some garlic in there too. Now, if you really wanted to, you could use a mandolin or slice these potatoes by hand, but I don't really want to. And work, damn you! Yeah, that's how long it takes to slice 3 potatoes. Alright, so I'm going to butter a baking dish. This is a roasted pan, but same difference. Non-stick is good for this. Cut. One of the recipes I've seen actually says that you're supposed to rub the pan with a clove of garlic. I defy anyone to tell me if they can just tell whether the pan has been rubbed with garlic or not. So you're supposed to layer these, but I'm not going to. I have things to do. I'm a businessman. So I'm just going to try to sort of make one coherent layer here in some semblance of coherency. And then we're going to layer the cheese, a little bit of cheese. And I think you're supposed to put the cream on every layer, but I think I might just do it all at once at the top, because that kind of seems silly to me. And some say put melted butter in, but we've got enough fat, I believe, with the half and half and the tons of cheese. That looks pretty good. Alright, so let's do a little bit of cheddar. You don't want to load it on because you're going to do like 30 layers, so just a good coating. Some gruyere, and then repeat until you have enough to fill your pan, or until you get sick of doing it and it's not going to cook because it's too thick and you have to use another pan, which I probably will have to do. I'll do about 3 or 4 layers in this, and then I'll fill the rest of a regular sized baking dish up. Okay, so I changed my mind. I tasted the cream, and it's salty. It's not too salty, but this is the only salt that's going in the dish at this point. So I've been sort of layering a couple of tablespoons, a few tablespoons over the top of every layer, just so each bite of potato has a little bit of saltiness in it. And it may not be enough, but I don't want it to be overly salty, and people can always put more salt on at the end. So just a little bit like that, just enough to make it glisten. Glistening potatoes. It's one of my favorite Irish New Age albums. And then I would use this cheddar is actually, I don't think it's going to be as good as it could be, because it's sharp but it's not aged dry, so it's actually a little bit moist, and I'm afraid that it's going to be a bit oily, so when it melts it might let too much moisture out, but it'll still be good. So I think I'll do one more layer in this pan, and then I'll fill up another one. I don't want it to get too thick, because I still want there to be a coherent, kind of a good crusty topping at the end, not just a big pile of mush. Okay, so this is the last layer that's going to be most visible, even though it will be covered with cheese. I'm going to kind of make it look pretty, a little bit more overlapping, and put a little bit more of the sauce on. Not sauce, it's just half and half with spices and garlic in it. So, and then we'll put a layer of cheese over the top after we feel like we've put enough cream in this. Right, so that's a little bit more cheese than the other layers, because I want it to look good and be cheesy on top. So I'm going to cover it with tin foil. I still say tin foil, even though I don't even know if you can get tin foil anymore. But it's aluminum foil, or aluminium foil for our British counterparts. And then in the oven, 325-ish, 350-ish for an hour and a half-ish. And then take off the cover and let it finish. I guess I'd probably take out the cover if once you can get a knife through it, and then let the top get brown and bubbly, and hopefully it won't be too soupy. Cross your fingers. Yeah, I probably shouldn't do this, but it's smelling a little something toasting. It's been about let's see, it's been about half an hour. No, that's fine. That's fine. Wonder what I'm smelling. I wonder if it's the ham. That's nice and bubblage. Cheese and oily bubblage. It smells phenomenal. Oh yeah. Where's my... oh, let's try this. Let's try that and see if it goes through, and it does. So we'll take the cover off of that and let it kind of broil a little bit. Not really broil, but... what was that? This was Trev's first reaction to his introduction to potatoes au gratin. He said,
"They're nacho potatoes."
Nacho potatoes. That's right. They're nacho potatoes. They're my potatoes. Alright, so I'd say those are done. Broil it for a couple of minutes at the end. Oh, swear word. That's hot. These are some zucchini. We got, let those guys get a little bit brown and we're done. Some sauteed, what is that, zucchini?
Yeah.
Some potatoes au gratin. Oh. And some roasted ham with Coca-Cola glaze. Cheese time in the kitchen of chaos, rock on!